Hello and welcome to the Capitol Report on NTD Television. I'm Steve Lance. House Democrats held their leadership election today. New York Congressman Hakeem Jeffries will succeed House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and become minority leader in the new Congress. Jeffries is the House Democrats' first new leader in 20 years.
Each and every day, House Democrats committed to fighting hard for working families, middle-class folks, those who aspire to be part of the middle class, young people, seniors, immigrants, veterans, the poor, the sick, the afflicted, the least, the lost, and the left behind.
Jeffries ran unopposed for the position. He currently serves as the chairman of the House Democratic Caucus. Jeffries will become the youngest congressional leader. A deadline is fast approaching to fund the Department of Defense. Now a group of Republican senators are threatening to stall the funding unless leadership allows a vote to repeal vaccine mandates for members of the military. NTD's Melina Wisecup joins us from Capitol Hill with more. Melina, why do these senators see this as a top priority?
Of the senators that we heard from today, the crux of their argument can mainly be boiled down to 3 points. The first is they argue that this vaccine mandate harms military readiness, pointing to the fact that around 3,400 military members have been discharged because of the vaccine mandate, and that's on top of the recruitment shortfalls the military is experiencing this year. The second point is that they argue that it wastes money, the tens of thousands of dollars that the military has already spent to recruit and train those military members. And then the third thing that they're arguing is the effectiveness of the vaccine. In their own words, here's a look at the crux of their arguments.
That anybody who's looking at CDC and NIH and FDA data, there have been 32,220 deaths reported to VAERS associated with the vaccine. Over 1.4 million adverse events.
At a time when the military is struggling to meet their targets for recruitment, the Biden administration is firing soldiers we invested in and trained.
I believe they're doing this as an effort to purge from the military conservatives.
And as a way to make all efforts to repeal this vaccine mandate, those Republican senators are threatening to delay advancing the National Defense Authorization Act in order to get a vote on this amendment. That amendment would repeal the vaccine mandate, rehire those discharged service members, as well as give them back pay. But their argument that this mandate harms national security and military readiness is the exact same argument that other senators and the Pentagon is using to justify the need to pass this defense bill quickly. It's also what Senate Leader Chuck Schumer said on the floor today, expressing the need to avoid delay as much as possible.
Do we want our troops to protect us with one hide tied behind their back while our adversaries are operating at full capacity? Of course not. But that's the danger we face if we don't pass an omnibus.
And government funding runs out in 16 days, but it's unclear if this effort from Republicans in the Senate will be successful. Senators Ted Cruz and Rick Scott expressed optimism today, while Senator Rand Paul was a bit more reserved, saying that this is ultimately in the hands of Senate leadership. There's about 20 senators who have joined in support on this. Of those 20 signatures they've collected, none of them are from Senate leadership. And Rand Paul says if they don't have the backing of Mitch McConnell and other Republican leaders, this ultimately may not be successful. Reporting in Washington, D.C., Melina Wisecup, NTD News.
NTD's Melina Wisecup, thank you. The Department of Homeland Security is preparing to end Title 42, and Democrat senators say they are concerned for their communities. A group of Democrat senators wrote to the Department of Homeland Security expressing concern that the Biden administration is not prepared. They say a surge of illegal immigrants is likely as soon as Title 42 ends, and illegal border crossers are being released into the street even while Title 42 is still in place. The letter reads, "Record annual encounters have led to untenable situations. In Arizona, shelters have been forced well beyond capacity. This month, El Paso has seen over 700 illegal migrants released directly onto city streets due to overcrowding. This is not safe and creates a dangerous situation for migrants and communities." The U.S. Customs and Border Protection encountered more than 2.3 million illegal immigrants at the southern border over the past fiscal year, and over 230,000 in October alone. The House voted for a bill aimed at blocking a national rail strike that could deal a blow to the economy. What's next and how the White House responds? NTD's Iris Tao has more.
At President Biden's request, the House today passed legislation to force a contract between carriers and rail workers. The goal is to block more than 100,000 workers from walking off the job in a strike set for next week.
The yeas are 290, the nays are 137. The joint resolution is passed.
The House today passed 2 resolutions. The first one would require workers to accept the deal negotiated back in September, which included a pay hike but no increase in the number of paid sick days. The second bill tackles that issue separately, but it passed in the House by a much smaller margin and faces an uphill battle in the Senate. And President Biden is taking heat for supporting a deal that did not include sick days. And some union members say they're disappointed.
If they can pass a bill to put us back to work, then they can also pass a bill that makes sure that we have basic protections when we need it most and when we're most vulnerable.
But the White House today defending the president.
Again, what is so important right now is that we need to make sure that we avert a rail shutdown.
The press secretary also makes clear that Biden does not want any delay in making that deal happen.
Of course, he supports paid sick leaves for all Americans, including rail workers, but he does not support any bill or amendment that will delay getting this bill to his desk by this Saturday.
The Senate now needs to vote on both bills, and while it's unclear if there's enough support to approve the individual measure to give workers paid sick days, there does seem to be enough votes to pass the first bill, which will make sure a strike doesn't happen come Friday. Reporting from the White House, Iris Tao, NTD News.
Thank you for watching the Capitol Report. If you want to see our full broadcast, check us out at epochtv.com.